for everyone, yours truly included, to get a little grounded. That's gonna probably involve a little sighing. Socially acceptable sighing zones are my jam. Okay. Especially if you're in the same room with someone that you've been spending perhaps a little more time around than you really have. It's perfectly okay to sigh right now. They're not going to take it personally, even if it's personal. So make use of it. Feel the ground underneath you. Just that sense of stability. Because there's so much instability right now, it's helpful in the moments, I find, just to like notice the ground, right? It's not moving. One thing is still the same. Notice your breath. It's moving in. It's moving out. And there may be times when that's what you got. There will be times too when you have so much more than that, when your resources are abundant. And that's awesome also. But know that if you have nothing else, if you're conscious, you can breathe in and you can let it go. Take your mental temperature right now, like a little litmus test. How's your mind? Sometimes it's helpful just to get a picture in your mind of what your mind is like, or a color, a phrase. Just kind of noticing where you're starting from. Notice any emotional overtones. Notice any desire to be a way that you're not right now. Whether there's a discrepancy between how you think you should be versus how you are in this moment. And if there is any difference, if there's a margin there, see if you can allow yourself for the course of this class, for the course of this connection time with everybody here, forget about that margin. That's canceled. What if you were supposed to be exactly how you are right now? That'd be nice, huh? So play with it, because what do you have to lose? In this class, we are finishing up the month of March, which started very typically in many ways in person at New Movement. We were doing this kriya, and it's kind of funny that it's called Getting the Body Out of Distress. That's the name of the kriya, or collection of exercises that we'll be working with. It's kind of funny that we're using this one because it's so particularly named, and I feel like it's so appropriate, right? Getting the body out of distress. I'm not trying to project or anything, but many bodies are experiencing distress right now. Many minds are experiencing distress. And I just want to make some space for that right now. If you're new to the practice of Kundalini Yoga, you won't be so familiar with tuning in. We use a mantra to tune in. And the mantra we use goes Om Namo Gurudev Namo. It means I bow to the teacher within, I bow to the divine within. And we chant it 3 times. So you're welcome to join along with me. It wouldn't hurt if you, I think everybody's muted. I think I can see everyone's muted, but double check and see if you're muted, because the delay will be challenging to hear. So we'll just, for now, leave my camera, or leave my audio as the only one on. So rub the palms, wake up the nerve endings, sigh it out, thumbs into the sternum, and inhale to sing. Inhale. Suspend the breath, lifting the pelvic floor, in the crudest terms, the rectum, sex organs, and low belly. We also call it mula bandh or root lock. Hold. Exhale, relaxing the root lock, releasing your breath. For those who are familiar, we'll continue with the Mongol or Charan mantra for protection. As you sing, hum along, or listen, envision pillars of white light surrounding you. Satguru Name, Jagadguru Name, Satguru Name, Sri Guru Deve Name. Atguru Name, Jagadguru Name, Satguru Name, Sri Guru Deve Name. Atguru Name, Jagadguru Name, Satguru Name, Sri Guru Deve Name. Inhale. Exhale. Bring the hands onto the knees for just a moment and set yourself an intention to bring with you through class. What's really important right now? What do you want to allow in? Let's start on our backs. Coming onto your back. You can keep the knees bent and the feet on the floor. Unless you really like to have your legs out long, that's fine too. Anybody who has a crankier or tender low back, having your knees bent is going to be much more comfortable. So we'll start on our backs and bring the hands down to the belly. I like to make almost a diamond shape around my belly button with my forefingers touching and my thumbs touching. And this is so simple. It's so simple. It amazes me that we need training in this, but all we're going to do is breathe. And notice where your hands are and begin to allow the breath to draw more deeply into the place where the fingertips are resting. Some of you were on my meditation call this morning, and we practiced tapping into our navel point. And this is what we're doing here. We're breathing in to the lowest chamber of the lungs, which touches into the navel point, which is just a couple fingers with distance below the belly button. So just continue here to breathe. And the navel point is our place of personal power. And so much of the time, when we're not conscious of our breath, we're not down there in that strongly rooted sense of self. We're up in our higher parts of our chest. And when we're not drawing the breath down low, we're missing out on an opportunity to be really fundamentally grounded. And that's just a great way to be right now, is fundamentally grounded. So allow the breath to move in and allow yourself to be breathed, releasing the breath. Notice what might be shifting for you, even after a couple of moments of this kind of breath, of letting the breath, instead of it being something that happens, a program that happens to be running in the background, letting it be the thing that's in the front and center of your attention. What happens in your body when you're here? What happens with the mind? Now you'll draw your hands up a little bit higher so that they're resting around your solar plexus, around your sternum. And this is a 3-part breath. We're going to continue drawing the breath into the low belly, just where it was. And next, allow it to move up to where your hands are. I always appreciate a visualization. And one thing that's really nice is just imagining little beams of white light coming from your fingertips and your palms here. And you can see the breath as powering that light. So on the inhale, seeing the light get a little bit brighter, a little more intense. And on the exhale, gently letting it dim. Like one of those little crank operated batteries. I have one that charges like my phone and a little flashlight. If you crank it, the light comes on. And this, in this case, the cranking is just having that breath moving. Now we're going to make our way into the 3rd part of the breath, drawing your hands up towards the clavicles so they're resting over your energetic heart center. And draw the breath in, low belly, into the mid-lungs, into the upper chest, and allow the breath out. Let the exhales be a touch longer than the inhales here. In our culture, we often try to white knuckle our way through certain things. That's just what we were taught for many of us, white knuckle our way through emotionally intense situations, not fully feel the feelings, that sort of thing. It's fairly typical. And we're also taught to seek the help of a professional. And I'm not knocking that. That's really important. If you are having a hard time, that can be unbelievably helpful. But what's really important to remember is that first and foremost, we have a tremendous amount of power to heal ourselves. So yes, get all the help you feel you might need or you might want. Get all the support and the connection that fits well in your life. And don't forget that your breath is the ultimate secret. That if we're constantly looking outside of ourselves, we're going to be missing the most potent piece of medicine we can get our hands on, which is literally our own hands and our own consciousness, our willingness to just breathe and hold ourselves. Now I invite you to place your hands on whatever part of the body it feels most nurturing to rest them on. And allow the breath to move in these three parts: low belly, mid lungs, upper chest. And you can sigh it out with your mouth open. You can even move your jaw around. In fact, I encourage it. Make a big smile, make a frown. Make all the faces that need to be made in order for you to feel what you're feeling, whatever that looks like right now. Beautiful. So if the feet are on the floor and the knees are bent, you can extend the left foot out long on your mat and go ahead and draw the right knee in towards your chest. You can let the femur bone move around in the hip socket here. Just kind of feeling out what kind of range of motion you have access to. And please keep breathing like you were breathing before. You can draw that breath in anytime. I've gotten to the point where if I notice I'm stressed at all, even on like a slightly subconscious level, any sudden awareness that I am feeling anxiety or stress, I draw my breath right down into my low belly automatically. So just know that that's something that you can automate, and the more you practice it, the better you're going to get at it. Just feeling into what the body's like today. Get some tension through the left leg, so you're sending your left sole of foot out towards the end of the mat. And notice what that does to the left hip flexor. And then we'll just switch. Right foot goes out, left knee comes in. For a moment, that right extended leg can just be chill, can just hang out. Keep breathing, low belly, mid lungs, upper chest. And let your leg move. Let your femur bone shift and explore in this ball and socket joint. You could even draw the knee all the way out to the side so that the inner thigh gets a little stretched. There's really no rules except to keep your awareness on the breath and on your experience of having a body. And then get a little more action in that right leg, a little more life. So you straighten the leg, press the thigh down towards the ground, send the sole of the foot firmly out towards the wall in front of you, drawing the right toes up towards the knee. And another sigh. Because even here, I imagine you're tapping into some tension and letting it release. And the breath is a great way to facilitate that release. It's like a conveyor belt, sending the old stuff, the garbage, out. Straighten the left leg, so both legs are out long. Feel what that's like. And go ahead and on an inhale, draw both knees in towards the chest and rock and roll. for a couple times. And if you're feeling ambitious, envision it first and then rock and roll up to standing, or make your way up to standing in whatever fashion works for you. Sometimes it takes more than one try. And once you're standing, just getting a little side-to-side action in the hips. Really feel the soles of the feet underneath you. Really stay with your breath. And as you move the hips side to side, notice that your shoulders are feeling relaxed. Were you holding any tension? If there's any tension in the shoulders, they can roll. Breathing, moving the hips, moving the shoulders. You can get the arms in there, the fingers. Getting a little side stretch here and there. I'm just giving you some pointers, but really, I'd like to encourage free-form movement right now. Seeing what's possible and what feels good. I think that those are two things that are unfortunately moving to the background of many of our psyches just by virtue of what's happening right now. But it's okay to ask yourself, what's possible? What feels good? And then I might add, what's sustainable and feels good? Because we can be tempted to do things that feel good that aren't terribly sustainable. Oh, come to standing just for a moment. Find stillness. Feel the earth underneath you. Notice your pranic body, your energy body. Notice if you don't feel a little more alive, a little more invigorated than at the beginning of this practice. We're going to take the feet together, and then we'll inhale, open to the left, and exhale, hands in towards heart center, send the hips down. We'll stay here for just a moment in Utkatasana with the hands down, crunched in a little bit. Not crunched, but consolidated. Hips down. You want to see your knees, your toes in front of your knees. And then on your next inhale, out to the opposite side. Arms out as wide as they can get. Stretch. Exhale, back in Utkatasana, feet together, or they can be hips width distance apart. Inhale, open. Stretch, how wide can you go? Exhale, back in. Inhale, open. Taking up space. Exhaling, consolidating on purpose. Inhale to expand. And exhale to contract. Both are necessary. A couple more times. Sink the hips a little lower than usual. One more on this side. And then back in to center. Just for good measure, we'll inhale the arms above the head, interlace the palms. And then exhale over to the left, grounding through the outside of that left foot or that right foot. Getting a little side stretch through your intercostal muscles. Breathe into the low belly, mid lungs, upper chest. Feel your heart rise at the top of the inhale. Feel your right side soften as you exhale. Inhale back up, unlace the fingers. Exhaling, lace the fingers again, palms up towards the sky. Grounding through the left foot. Low belly, mid lungs, upper chest on the inhale. Exhaling to soften. One long line. Inhaling back up. And exhaling. Take it just a second to pause. A second to breathe, to notice. Great. We're going to make our way down to seated again. This time the legs are going to come out in front of us. And it's such a funny kriya. They're all funny in their own way. We're playing with the meridians of the body here, the energetic centers that, when they're stimulated in acupuncture or acupressure, allow for a greater balancing of the hormones and general energy in the body. So we begin just by slapping the thighs with open palms. Fairly vigorous. Notice your breath. Keep it up. Notice your breath as you begin to wake up the legs. I figure I'll save you the weird cacophonous sound of my own slapping of my legs. Great. And then find stillness. You can let your palms come face up. Next, we'll move to massaging the kneecaps fairly vigorously again. And you want to move from the inside out. So it's like this, not like this. Opening from the inside out. A vigorous massage of the kneecaps. My challenge to you, my loving, gentle challenge, is to stay with the breath the whole practice. There will be moments when you might forget about the breath, and in those moments, it's just a meditation. You just come back to it, drawing it into the low belly like you're opening the door for a guest. Come on in. Breath that likes to hang out high and tight and increase our sense of urgency and anxiety. Really, I insist, come down into the lower lobes of the lungs. Nice. Do what you need to do throughout this whole practice to let it feel as right as possible. Some Kundalini yoga postures are challenging. In this kriya, I think it's more about enjoying the body. That's my take on it. So how can you give yourself how can you give your knees as much love as possible here? See how much energy you can release and control and feel good about just by rubbing the knees. Lovely. And then find stillness. Let your eyes close if you feel comfortable doing that. In Kundalini Yoga, the default position for the eyes is to have them closed with the gaze to the third eye, right at the center of the forehead. At the very least, I'd encourage you to keep your eyes cast down and even slightly closed. This is going to help you keep your attention internal in a world where we're so often focused on what's going on outside. If the hamstrings are a bit tight, you could sit up on a blanket like I'm about to do right here. We're going to be ever so slightly bending forward, keeping the legs out where they are, and taking the fronts of the fingers, like making little fists and taking the fronts of the fingers and pounding them against about 1 fist width distance below the knees on the outer calves. You might notice that, like if you were to press with 1 finger on this point, that it might be a little bit tender. It's a general acupuncture point, and stimulating this point can shift the metabolism. Nice work. Keep it up. Notice your breath, especially when we start to lean forward a little bit. It can be tempting not to draw the breath into that low belly. So just do what you can to stay with the breath. Sighing at any point is more than encouraged. Last little bit. And then back to stillness again. Sense the subtlety of your energy. The little shifts that you might notice as a sense of swirling or buzzing. All of that is the energy that may have landed kind of funny, reconstituting in a way that's much more aligned so that we can do what we need to do here on this earth with essentially less suffering. It's a potent practice. Bring your feet a little further apart and then make fists again. And about 1 fist width above the knees on the insides of the thighs, we'll come back to whacking ourselves. This is another spot that can be very tender, so you might want to go a little bit lighter here. As with any class I teach, if something feels like too much, it probably is. So always feel free to back off and come into whatever posture feels appropriate for you. Nice. We're here for a little less time than the other postures. My general take is when there is a challenge in really anything, but yoga is basically practice for life. When there's a challenge, go as hard as you can at the challenge without going too far, without overdoing it, without harming yourself. And then when you feel the need to stop, when you get that internal voice that says, okay, enough, too much, have compassion, back off. Both are important skills to have. Back to stillness. Noticing what you notice. Next, we're gonna bring the legs a little bit wider apart. I have weirdly sensitive heels, so I like to put a blanket underneath one of my heels if it's gonna be on the hardwood floor, because otherwise it's distractingly irritating. So for this one, where your body goes is just going to depend on what kind of space is available to you. Some of us are going to be holding on to like above the knees if our backs of our legs are really tight. Some of us are going to be holding on to the ankles or even with the feet, the hands around the centers of the feet. And we're going to be moving from inhaling up to exhaling down. Let the breath be pretty firm in and pretty firm out. And if you notice a lot of tightness in the backs of the legs, feel free to bend the knees a little bit. You don't want to strain yourself. You want this to be as vigorous as possible without making yourself like super dizzy. The instructions say Move fast like a propeller that moves so fast that nobody can see the blades. We're balancing the flow of energy in the spine. So moving in a rhythm as fast as your body says is okay. Nice work. Last little bit here. Last few times. And inhale, upright. Suspend the breath, lifting the pelvic floor, gaze to your third eye. Envision white light spiraling from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. Hold. Gently release. Soften. Notice. And allow. You might notice a sense of something wanting to move through. Whether it's something that's ready to go, an emotion that's attached to old memories, perhaps, or old karma. And you might notice that there's something that wants to move in. We're really making way for spirit here. We're making way for the divine, however you want to identify that. And one of the best things we can do when we feel that presence come a knocking is just to breathe and feel the ground underneath us and to sense our hearts open. We're going to make our way to seated, if you're not already. Sitting cross-legged or however else works for you. We won't be here for too long, so don't worry much about it. You're going to bring the fingertips together, including the thumbs, and make a little, like your fingers are going to do a little dance, making a little circle with the fingertips. Notice your breath. Let your eyes close. The wrists stay steady. Kundalini energy is depicted as a snake in image. It has a spiraling nature. Kundalini energy being that fundamental primal creative power that we all have. So as we move our fingers, we're moving sort of snake-like, bringing that spiraling energy into the forefront. Good. Next, we're going to lie down onto our backs, and our arms will be on the floor beside us. This is always a funny one if you have downstairs neighbors like I do. So it's really simple, and if you have a tender back, you could skip this one, or you could bend the knees and just do it gently, but I'll demo the modification version. Pressing the palms into the mat, pressing the shoulders and the back of the head into the mat, lifting the hips and letting them drop. I'm gonna do the regular form now. So just lifting the hips and letting them drop. It's as simple as that. You want to move as quickly as your body will let you. And in yoga, we always want to be doing more good than harm. So keep an eye on the difference between pushing for the sake of pushing and moving through something that's challenging to get to the other side with a sense of grit and confidence. If you need to take a break, we'll be here for a total of 2 minutes, so it's a good solid hold. If you need to take a break, you bless yourself and you rest. And then in a moment or two, you come back in. And if you can keep moving, this is the time to rewire, to figure out where the mind protests and where that mind isn't quite accurate. And learning how to move forward, saying, hey, thanks mind for the feedback. I think I can do more, so that we don't hold ourselves back. And that's where Kundalini yoga becomes the most integral practice I've encountered for these times, because we need to be able to do more in various ways than we think we can. Good work. Last 30 seconds. Pressing into the palms, pressing into the heels, noticing the breath, softening the eyes, softening the jaw. Find your strength. Last few times, last 10 seconds. And inhale, hips coming to the ground. Hold the breath in, be very still, lifting the pelvic floor, gaze to your third eye. Exhale to release. Let the palms face up to receive. Let the breath move to wherever it's needed. And feel the spaciousness that comes after right effort. The next posture will be staying on our back. You're going to be inhaling the arms over the head with the hands into fists. Exhaling, drawing your hands down like King Kong onto your chest. Inhaling back up and exhaling palms down. So inhale up, make fists. Exhale down onto your chest. Inhale up, exhale down. Good work. Stay with it. Grief can be stored in the chest, in the heart region. So think of this as an opportunity to shake up some of the grief that many people are experiencing. And we don't have to be experiencing it personally. We can be just sensitive to other people's grief as well. So taking an opportunity to shake it up a little bit. Last couple times. And next time your hands come down, let them stay down. Pausing for a breath, noticing. Now you'll stay on your back and with open palms, gently hit the chest. You can please feel free to, if it feels good. It's really, I think, very important to express verbally without specific words. Letting out whatever wants to come out. Like, this is a great time for it. If someone thinks you're weird, send them to me. I will explain everything and they will want to come to class. Good. And you can let your hands come to stillness. Give yourself some energetic love, just like at the beginning with the breathing exercise. And then we'll take the open palms to the forehead. Just gently tap the forehead with the tips of your fingers and the ends of your fingers. I love this one. It's so gentle. It's very sweet. Just tapping. Good. And then we'll take the knees in towards the chest. Bring your arms inside the knees and your hands to the outsides of the feet if they reach. If they don't, you can just hold the shins here or even hold the backs of the thighs. And we'll do a little bit of rocking and rolling back and forth. Go as gentle and small or as big as you like, as it feels in your body. Nice, nice, nice. Another 20 seconds or so. Reintegrating the energy of the spine. The spine being, in yogic terms, the lightning rod to the divine, that our connection to the divine lies in our spines through our main energy channels. Good. And then come to lying down. And we're going to be shifting the hips from the left and taking it, just shifting them kind of like a little jerking motion, just the hips to the left and taking a breath. And then shift them in a little jerking motion to the opposite direction and take a breath. And notice when you do this little jolt, this little shift, you impact the whole spine. One way and then the other. You could even take 2 breaths between movements. Moving like a snake. Fairly small and precise movement. Best instructions in the whole kriya. Move excellently in a curly, whirly way. A small movement with force. Bottom to top. Move heavily back and forth. Give the spinal energy its own chance to move and give the vertebrae an adjustment. Really taking your time between movements to notice what's different. Even if you don't notice anything in particular, just asking the question is very important. Am I noticing? Am I conscious of what I'm doing, or am I just kind of going through the motions? And then become still and neutral in your spine. Let your arms come out to the sides in a T or like a cactus if that keeps you from hitting someone next to you. Inhale the right knee up and exhale it across the body for a twist. Long exhale. Inhale the knee up. Switch the legs. Exhale left knee across and probably down for a little less extreme of a twist. Long, slow inhale, back to center. Switch the legs. Exhale, right knee down and over. If you send it, down a little further away from your head, it's just less extreme. Inhale, the right knee up, switch. Exhale, left knee over. Moving back and forth a couple more times, seeing if you can keep both shoulders on the mat or close to it. Nice, nice, nice. One more time. And then just stillness on your back. Coming towards the end of the kriya. So letting the rest of your body be quite relaxed. Let the palms come face down. And unless you have an injury in your neck, in which case you're going to hold the back of your head. Draw the chin in towards the chest and hold the neck tense for 60 seconds. If it feels really uncomfortable or like there's slipping or pulling, you just take one hand and you hold it behind the head. Let the whole body be relaxed and let all of the tension, all of your awareness be in the neck. And in the breath. Getting very focused, very still, very intentional. Last breath in. And exhaling, relax the head down. Just take a moment. Noticing what you notice. Nice. We'll come to seated. And this time, this is when you can grab your towel or your blanket. It's good to sit up on something so the hips are higher than the knees. That allows us to make good use of the lungs and it keeps the spine in its natural S curve. So we're not slumped over and missing out on our body's potential. So here we'll do a little baby self massage using your thumbs, massage under the cheekbones. Notice your breath as you do. Let it be a real act of service to yourself. And then using your palms, make a circular motion on your jaw. Always amazing to me how knotty these muscles are and how infrequently I really give them attention. And then use the first 3 fingers on your hands to massage the sides of the neck. Now place the palms over your ears and massage your whole ears in a circular motion. And then the hands can come down onto the knees, palms up, thumb and forefinger together in Gyan Mudra. Feel the spine gently rising if it's fairly accessible for you to sit up tall. The crown of the head extend up as if there were a balloon, helium balloon attached to the top of it. Sides of the neck drawing gently back. We're going to continue here with our meditation, and then we'll move into Shavasana. So this meditation involves a mantra that we'll repeat silently. The mantra is Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. And as we say Sa, Ta, Na, Ma, we, Sa, it's thumb and forefinger together. Ta, thumb and middle finger. Na, thumb and ring finger. Ma, thumb and pinky. And Sa, Ta, Na, Ma means infinity, life, death or change, and rebirth. So just honoring that all of these are part of how our world operates, how our universe operates. So the palms will come face up, and as you internally chant the mantra, you'll be moving the fingers, the thumb along the fingers, and you inhale in 4 parts. So as you internally chant Sa, it's inhaling a sniff, 1/4, Ta, Na, Ma. And then the lungs will be full, and then you can exhale all the air out. Thumb can be free. And then inhaling again, internally chanting Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Exhaling. Eyes can become closed, gaze to the third eye. I'll chant as you breathe and internally do your thing. So, Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. And exhaling. Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Inhaling in 4 parts. Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Allow the exhale to be nice and slow and steady. Continue at your own pace, internally chanting Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Infinity, life, death, for change and rebirth. Really allowing yourself to stay internal here, to stay gently focused on the shifts you've initiated. Letting the combination of breath, mantra, and mudra, the hands, draw your energy into a really sweet, sustainable rhythm. Like you're climbing up 4 steps and then going down a long, fun slide. The mind wanders, draw it back to the mantra, back to the movement of the fingers, the steadiness of the gaze right at the center of the forehead, to the breath. Let yourself be really taken with the practice. Last few rounds. Coming back to regular breath, staying internal, sensing your own spaciousness, sensing potential in your own self and in the space around you. Feeling yourself connected to the earth. And feeling yourself connected to all that is unseen. And feeling yourself connecting both of those with your physical body. The invitation here is to stay seated in meditation if you like, or you could come down lying onto your back into a comfortable position, Shavasana, or whatever else works for you. You can place a bolster or a roll of towels or something under your knees if that feels good. Whatever it takes to get kind of cozy. So a blanket or a towel over your body, something over your eyes to let you settle in is always recommended. Make your way down like a leaf falling from a very high tree. Slowly, gently, inevitably. In such a way that there could be no doubt about your own self-regard, your own willingness to care gently for yourself. And keeping a willingness to stay with yourself here, to bear witness to the space that you've created, that you've cleared. A willingness to let that settle, that it's set. Feeling your body heavy, relaxed. Your head heavier than it's ever been before. Your heels as if they could sink into the floor below them. Letting the breath operate exactly as it pleases. Allowing yourself to be breathed here. See yourself in a spacious place where there's more than enough room for you to rest comfortably. More than enough room for all of you. Even if you were to spread out and take up as much room as you could. See the space being far more expansive than what you could ever take up. Begin to notice the sensation of air on your skin. Feel the fabric of your clothes. Take a deeper breath into the low belly, mid lungs, and upper chest. Sigh it out. Smile to yourself as you draw the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a little hug. A rock side to side, perhaps, or front to back. Make your way gently over to your side, pausing in gratitude for yourself for showing up, for this technology that's available to us, which is so cool. For your circumstances, allowing this to be a possibility this evening. Making your way up to seated as you feel ready. Just taking a second to internally log how you're feeling, what you're noticing. And I want to be mindful of the time. So I'd like to tune out, close out with the mantra Sat Nam. And then we can take a couple minutes, if you have the space for it, to do a little bit of journaling, and we can connect to share out if you want. So we'll tune out with the mantra Sat Nam, Sat meaning truth, Nam meaning identity. Rubbing the palms. Thumbs come into sternum. Inhale. Sa. Nam. Peace to all, love to all, light to all. May we all go out to be lighthouses for ourselves and those around us. Sat Nam. Namaste. Feel free to ground yourself. Just bring your forehead to stacked hands on the ground, or forehead to ground, or anything that works. Thank you for practicing. We'll take a couple minutes if you want to join, just to jot down any insights or thoughts or feelings or whatever's that might have come up during practice. I have to run and grab a pen. If you gotta run, I get it. See you later. Thanks for coming.